This episode is truly a blessing to me, and I think you are going to really enjoy it. You are going to get a sneak peek inside 3 coaches' businesses at different levels and just see what made them want to get organized. What did they do? What were the fun parts? What's had the most impact? And then what are the challenging parts? And make sure you listen to hear the dog groaning at the perfect time, right when I asked, what are your most challenging parts? So make sure you listen for that. And noticing that they said the most challenging parts were your brain activity. I just loved it. So the challenging parts weren't the getting organized parts. The challenging parts of getting organized were watching your brain resist, give you feedback, have thoughts. I often see the first thing that makes people realize their need to get organized is the messy digital files. They're messy. They can't find things. They're looking, they're searching, they're wasting time. So if you are not signed up to organize your business files in the workshop coming in 2 days, December 7th, 2023, then you need to sign up right now. You will leave with a plan. I will teach you everything. I'm going to map it out for you. You're going to walk through it with me in the workshop, and you're going to be able to organize your digital files after this workshop. So sign up for that. The link is in the show notes, or it's training.simplysquaredaway.com/3, the number 3 steps. Okay, let's get into this special episode with Angie Robinson, Danielle Thienel, and Liz Rose. Are you ready to work less, feel more organized and productive, streamline repetitive tasks, and implement systems that allow your coaching business to run smoothly even without you? If so, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Organized Coach Podcast, your go-to source for practical tips and solutions. I'm your host, Tracy Hoth, professional organizer, certified life coach, simplifying expert, and most of all, down-to-earth fellow coach just like you. No matter if you think you're missing the organizing gene, have ADHD, or just love anything organizing, I'm here to help you become an organized coach with a business that works for you. Pull up a seat and let's get started. Today's a special episode. I have 3 students, coaches that are in Organized Coach Academy, and they are going to share. I really want to know myself, but I also want you as a listener to know, how do you organize your business? Like, what happens? What does that look like? What does getting organized actually look like in your coaching business? So all these coaches are on different levels in their business. And so we're going to just talk about it today. I'm so excited to have each one of you. Why don't I let you each introduce yourself, starting with Angie?
Great. Thank you, Tracy, for having us on. It's so fun. My name is Angie Robinson, and I am a life and leadership coach. So I work with leaders, typically mid-sized leaders in organizations, as well as entrepreneurs that are typically in their early stage of entrepreneurship. And I work with people who are looking to really elevate their skills, cultivate confidence, and create connection with their teams to drive results. And I do that through one-on-one coaching, as well as leadership workshops and speaking engagements.
Awesome. Danielle, what about you?
Yes. Hi. Thanks for having me, Tracy. I'm Danielle. I'm a life coach for busy, faith-filled moms. So I help overwhelmed moms of faith have more peace and joy in their busy mom lives. And I do this through a process called the Cyclone Mom Method. And I do it with one-on-one coaching, group coaching. I have some courses and a podcast called the Peaceful Mind Podcast for busy moms. I've also been on episode 21 of your podcast, so where we talk about and learn it a little bit more. And I've been doing it for about 4 years now.
I know. So you are the first guest to be on my show twice. And
wow.
This is the first episode where I've had more than one guest on. So Liz,
fun.
What about you?
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm also a life coach for moms, and I help them to master their patience so that they can stop yelling at their kids for good. I have a 5-week program that I'm running currently, and then I'll start it again in January. It's called Master Your Patience. And in that program, I teach moms all the tools that I used to stop myself from yelling at my children. So I'm an ex-yeller as well.
Never heard that term, ex-yeller. I love it.
Yeah.
It's been so fun, first of all, to get to know each of you and have you here and get to know your businesses too. So I'm always curious, what made you want to get your business organized?
For me, it started with my digital files, my computer. I typically think I'm an organized person, but I think I overdo it sometimes where I get myself overwhelmed. And I found myself, having files in different places and duplicating things. I would say to myself, oh, I know I have that somewhere, or I know I did that, searching frantically or recreating. And it was just really inefficient. It was making me crazy. And so when I saw your academy, I was like, oh, this is probably what I need. Somebody to help me figure out a simplistic way to get things in a place that I can find them easily. So that's what started it for me.
Oh, cool.
I mentioned that I had been, 4 years, and sometime earlier when I started my coaching business, I had a mentor mention this thought that when you have a business that's a mess, when you go to grow it, if it's a mess, you'll grow a mess. So that thought stuck with me. So every time over the years that I was making a new opt-in, a new program, all of, just saving a doc or finding things that I liked, or again, starting with my podcast, almost every time I would hit save and not really do anything after that, that thought would come to my mind about, okay, well, if you're not organizing it, you could be making it more of a mess, and then you'll grow a mess, right? So knowing that was, an underlining thought, it was the timing of your podcast and knowing that was something that I had told myself I wanted to do, which was organize the digital side. I love organization, like in my home. It's always come very naturally to me to declutter and everything like that. I do love and enjoy it, but for some reason, we all just have our things, and the tech side of the coaching business and knowing actually how, like really even just having that vulnerability that people might assume how to work Google or simple things, but I really would kind of do it and then tuck it somewhere. It was kind of like how in your home you want to just shove everything in the guest room and shut the door. I feel like I was sort of doing that with my digital files. So though, knowing that where my mindset was when you came and when I was exposed to you and when we met, you just really made it seem like it was possible and doable. And that is what really drew me to coming to the Organized Coach Academy. And it also came to the point where I was looking and to use a VA more. And when you have somebody else who's exposed to your business, you almost kind of like, that's when you have to like be vulnerable to somebody else to say like, my files are a mess, or if you want to get how much work it takes to kind of give them something. So that was a little bit of an impetus for me too, to get started, is because I wanted to have the help in my business and wanted to be able to give them things in a timely manner. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So you were ready to hire someone to help, but the thought of that, Liz, what about you? What made you want to get your business organized?
I am not naturally an organized person, or at least I had that belief that I wasn't a naturally organized person. I really believe that, and you've talked about this in the academy, that I have somewhat of a skill gap. Not because nobody's ever tried to teach me, but just I haven't learned from a person that it's worked. Like I've learned all kinds of systems, but they don't necessarily work for me or my brain. So, and my business is still relatively new. And I heard you say, actually on Neil Williams' podcast, I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was something like, if you believe that you can grow to the size that you want to grow, like your goal, then are you functioning as that business owner, or are you functioning as someone who believes you're going to stay small? And if you believe you're going to grow, then you have to have things organized or you literally won't be able to function. So that really landed with me. And I'm seeing that as my business grows, that you don't have time to be looking for links. You don't have time to be like, we were just talking about this at our last call, like invoicing clients. It all needs to be very seamless, and you don't have the brain energy. You're busy trying to create and you're trying to come up with new ideas and the best ways to serve your clients. And so you don't want to be wasting time and energy thinking about where everything is. So that's why I joined, just so I can kind of get a head start on all of that.
Well, and that's so true. I loved when Neil said that when she looked back at her own business and thought, if I would have believed that I was going to grow. And that's what you're doing. And it's so funny because the people that are ahead of you in the academy, and we have people at all ranges. So there's brand new coaches. There's a few people in there that don't even really haven't started their business. The people that are further ahead, they're like, you guys have it made because you're getting this all set up in the beginning. It's so fun hearing what drew you to wanting to get organized. As we've been in each week, what material or concept has been, I don't know, most impactful? What surprised you?
Gosh, that's a good question. There's so many things. I do love your SPASM acronym. I think it's great. And I have applied that sort of, methodology, I guess, to organizing the home, kind of like you said, Danielle, like doing things outside of it. I never thought about it that you can do that with your files, like your digital files and your SOPs and, with your business. So I love applying kind of that methodology to the business. It just makes so much sense. But I will say what I love the most so far is the biz dashboard. It's a Google Doc. It's simple. You can add to it. People can access it, and it puts everything in one place. It is like magic to me. I love that so much.
I do too. And as I use my own, because I've just developed it probably in the last 6 months where I've really honed in on what I want it to look like for my business. And, each person could have a different sheet on it, a different tab for their own business. But yes. And one of you mentioned too, it was Danielle, that you filled out the podcast guest form lickety split, as you said, because everything you needed was in your business dashboard.
That's right. It just took just a few minutes because of that business dashboard being already filled out, having the links and not having to go to the different software programs to look for it. It was minutes when you needed to wanted our bio, wanted our photos, wanted, our social media links. It literally on my biz dashboard, I went to the social media links tag and I just copied them all and pasted them right into your form. It was minutes and it just felt so empowering. It felt amazing. And while I'm here, I'll tell you that there's the material, the concept that's been the most helpful to me was the power of one. And the reason why, like Angie had mentioned earlier about the whole duplicates, knowing. So I had my computer and then the Google Docs. And then there's some things where I feel like, I should just move it to the hard drive. And this feeling of safety, I think that comes knowing that you have it in multiple places. For what? I don't know. Maybe just thinking, right, if your computer crashes. And really making that decision, like you starting with that power of one. Once I made the decision to pick one place and I picked Google Drive, that set me up for everything else to follow, right? Then that directed and told me when I did create something new, where was that going to be housed? There's no decision fatigue. It was like, it's going to be in Google. And I'll even tell you that one of the thoughts that was my brain was my computer has a terabyte of space. So my mind was telling me that that's the place that I should, because I've now paid to have more Google space. But I like my reason why, that it was in the cloud, and for me, it was worth it. And I just took all of that kind of ping pong back and forth with my brain, knowing that I liked my reason why. But for me, that was the main concept because it set me up for the further organizing decisions.
Yes. And we continue to use that each week, even with our business dashboard. It's the power of one place that we click to one spot that makes it so beneficial. Liz, anything that stood out with you or was most impactful as we've gone through?
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was the planning your time module where you taught, Tracy teaches this way to use a Google Calendar that I have never, ever thought of. And it is literally life-changing for me. And I use it not just for my business, but I use it for like things that I need to remember for my kids or cleaning tasks that I want to have or whatever. I've kind of just applied it all over the place for myself. And the reason it was so impactful for me was, again, I just didn't have the skill or the whatever you want to call it, like the thought process to ever come up with that on my own. And what I learned is I'm actually really good at committing to my calendar. I just never knew exactly how to think that through. So it's been huge for me. It's actually given me a ton of confidence that like, oh, I can actually do what I say I'm going to do. And I can be consistent in the tasks that I do in my business. And I actually am already consistent. I just didn't even realize it because there was no documentation of it at all. So that's been huge for me.
I love that. I love how you had said that we all talked through like what we do regularly, what we do every day, what we want to do weekly and monthly. And I think for all of us, just seeing and actually having it written down or thought through about what we do each day, it wasn't really as much as we think that we we have to do to keep our businesses going. So I think that was so fun to see it register.
It really helped to also clarify, I guess, what we're spending our time on. And are they the important things? Are we spending too much time looking for things or whatever that really isn't moving our business forward? So just having that organized time methodology just helps us to see, are we really spending the time where we should be in order to move our business forward?
Right. And Liz, you've mentioned it twice, the skill gap. And I always do tell people, if we are here and we want to get to the next step, there's usually a skill gap or a mindset gap that's keeping us. And it can be a little bit of both. But when you learn the skill gap, the mindset gap kind of can go along with it and help out. So I know I had another guest that she's diagnosed ADHD, but she would say, like, I just didn't have the capacity to think, to create the plan or the tool or the step. But when she has it, she's amazing at it. So it kind of sounds the same.
I have never been diagnosed, but I surely think I might have ADHD. And it's hard because you try so many systems and people are like, oh, just write notes or just do this or just do that. And you're like, but yeah, I don't remember to look at the note, or I don't remember and for whatever reason, the Google Calendar and just the way that we set that up, it really clicked for me because it's on my computer. I look at it every day. Of course, you have to build the habit, which I had to be disciplined in doing that. But just that system really clicked for me. It was like the system that has clicked out of all the systems. So,
well, and I've never seen anybody do it like this either. And when I thought of it, I'm like, why do we have to have something else to help us? Why can't we just do it within our calendar? And when I thought of that, I was like, does somebody already do this? Like, why?
Well, and it's right. And it's flexible. You just drag it in every week instead of, I mean, even my weeks can be varied. And I'm sure all of you experience that as well, with kids and life and business and whatever. So if something needs to change, you just move it around. But and then the descriptions are in there, so you know what you're doing. That's the other big part for me. That was huge.
Right. Yeah. So good.
I want to chime in here about what you just said about the belief gap and skill gap. And I totally see that. I like the reason why I do hire coaches myself and like to be part of programs is because I like to borrow the mindset and thoughts of that expert. So being able to work with you, Tracy, and being inside of the Organized Coach Academy, I then get to, hear what your beliefs are so that I can help myself close that mindset gap. And then, yes, you have the skill gap. And when I think about organizing and what you've taught us, I think about when I was just listening to your podcast, which I love that. Like I have a podcast too. I love to give that, that free content. And you can take that and run. I did purchase your idea tracker from your podcast, and I could do it on my own and set it up. Or with everything, we do tell our clients, you can Google it and you can learn. But with all of the templates that you've provided in there that we could make ourselves or listen to your podcast, that skill gap for me, I like having the guidance, the accountability, and actually not working and just doing it alone, like the kind of group. My skill gaps get closed just, I think, more quickly and actually with more fun when I get to then do it in a group setting with others and the accountability, right? Of coming back and doing something. So I just wanted to touch on that between the mindset gap and the skill gap.
Yeah,
I agree. 100%. So good. Mm-hmm.
When I go into a program, sometimes I want the whole thing. I want to binge on the whole thing. I just want to see it all. But I've made us go week by week. And I think that I will keep doing that because it's so beneficial to not be overwhelmed by all of it. Like, nope, we're going to just focus on this week.
Yeah, that's been great.
Anything else that's helped inside the academy going through for you to help your business, I guess, make a bit bigger impact, but just to get organized for yourself?
I am like Danielle, where I am ready to hire as well. And in 2024, that is my goal. And so I love the fact that I am able to now get some things in place, document the SOPs, which, I mean, I've been in business for 5 years out of corporate America, and I've had that on my list, my to-do list for a long time. And now I have the tools and the templates that you provide, Tracy, are incredible. I mean, talk about time saving. It's so much value. I can't even handle it. So I love the fact that when I do hire in 2024, I will be ready to hand things over and feel good about it. And not, like you said, Danielle, like want to keep the door shut to the guest room because I don't want them to see what's inside. I'll be ready to let them see. So that's been really, really helpful.
They're going to be like, wow, Angie and Danielle and Liz, they have it together.
I feel like for me too, the templates and all the systems that you're teaching us, it really just cuts down on that decision fatigue and like brain fatigue as to like what I was doing before is like, I want to organize, but I'm not sure how, or I want a system, and then you go research different systems or you try different systems and they don't work. When I signed up for the program, I just committed. I was like, I'm going to do whatever she tells me to do. That's it. Like, I am not trying anything else. This is what I'm doing. So that has been really helpful to me as well.
Liz, I was thinking the same thing because when I joined too, I was so happy that it wasn't about some app or some other software. It was just things that we had already. There are just so many great tools out there and I love them, but they can get very overwhelming. The learning curves, which is the right one. Oh, wait, this is the newest one. I loved the fact that it wasn't a part of it. That is one of the reasons I joined, because I didn't want to have to learn a new software or something like that. And Tracy, you're very iterative. You're kind of learning along with us sometimes, which is great. We all kind of share ideas and, oh, wow, I haven't tried that, which is amazing. And there isn't a right or a wrong way. And you say that all the time. It's whatever works for you. So it keeps it very simplistic, very flexible. And I don't know, this permission just to kind of own where you are and what works for you, I just think has been really, really good.
And it's been fun hearing because this is the first round, it's been fun hearing what else you all want. I'm ready to add some stuff, just like how to organize our Canva and how to organize our email. So a few of those things aren't in there yet, but we're going to do that for sure. Any advice you would have for people who want to get their business organized, or even who are wondering if they need to get organized?
I want to speak to the ones who maybe are at the beginning of their, business. You had mentioned before, I'm one of those that said, oh, that's so amazing and lucky that you're doing this now, because I really, and I'm going to piggyback what Liz said. If you are new, going into your future self, what you imagine your business could be, on how this will get you set up to be able to handle those amount of clients. And really, like I was saying, with someone for myself who already has a few years, right? The way I look at it is that I wanted to give myself some margin and space to better serve my current clients. And when you get organized, you then have more mental energy to be creative, to think of them, which is what I want to do more of. And so I guess the advice I would say, just wherever you are, if you're a new coach, now's the perfect time, because you're setting your future self up for success. Because even if you don't have a podcast, how I have a podcast dashboard now, but you can still set up the categories. And then the day you decide to do that, you can just start filling it in. And then if you're someone, again, like me, where you want to go back and you're trying to organize all of the files that you have, again, I'm looking at it as setting myself up to more fully serve my clients, because I want to also be an example to them. And I I coach overwhelmed and busy and stressed out moms. And a lot of the things they want is to be more organized. And so when I can show them and help them because I've been through it myself, or I can just be available to them, that's what's making it my impact on my business from getting organized, is that I'm showing them what's possible. And again, when I'm helping moms balance life, that's a feeling. And when you feel more organized, you feel more in balance. So it totally lines up. That's the impact it's had for me.
It's such a good point too, with the process we go through in doing this is a lot of what our clients are dealing with in maybe within our own niche, but it's a lot of the same things.
Mm-hmm. And I was thinking too, kind of on the, maybe not the flip side, but along those lines, if you are already farther along in your business, I know I kind of had this thought going in. It's like, oh my gosh, it wasn't a huge mess, but a lot going on. Am I really going to be able to have the time to get myself organized? Right. And you can, like, again, there's no timeline. You just have simplistic ways of doing it. We get to decide how much time we want to give to it. And it's completely possible. It hasn't been that difficult. I love the dripping week by week. That's been very helpful. Set up a couple of hours a week. I mean, for me to do my digital files, which really what freaked me out at the beginning, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? I got it done within the first week. And not even a lot of time. It was just really simple. So you can start anytime. And I'm just having this thought now as we're talking, when I do hire a VA, I don't have to have it all ready. Maybe I get a few SOPs done and then I hand them the project to say, here you go. Now you complete the rest, right? So anyway, I think that's something I will do too.
Yes. Hand it off, delegate. I'm curious, what's been the most challenging part? Oh, I was like, Liz, you're groaning.
A doggy, maybe?
Yeah. Was there anything surprisingly challenging to you?
I would say that it's just, again, when you have something where every week there's something new, the challenge is to watch your brain telling you that you are either behind or that you should be farther along. That's, again, one of the things that I have heard through the group come up. And then I see, you, Tracy, coach through it each time, but it's just so fascinating that our faulty thinking, our default is going to choose that every time. So the challenge is just to notice it, recognize it, see what it is, and to not let it stop you.
Right. And some of the faulty thinking too, like around, oh, they're doing it this way, so that means I should do it this way. Danielle moved everything to Google Drive. I have not. I still have mine on my computer with some pieces in Google Drive, some of the templates and things, and that is okay. But in the beginning, I was like, oh, but is that what I should be doing? Is that going to make me the organized coach? And it's not. So just being, again, like you said, Danielle, being aware of your thoughts and just being onto your brain and just making those decisions that there isn't a right way. Your way is the right way.
Yes, because organized just means that you know what you have and you can find it when you need it. Yeah. Any last thoughts, Liz?
I was just going to sing your praises about how it's just been helping me so much in being more consistent with the tasks that I do and decreasing decision fatigue. And I can find things when I need to. So I just feel more confident as a coach. And I think Danielle has said this a couple of times. That allows me to then coach my clients differently. I can coach from a place of, I know where on the back end of my business, everything is taken care of, and I can just focus on clients. And that, I think, is just such a gift. It's such a gift. And I think a lot of coaches and business owners neglect to see how important that is. That it's almost like taking care of your health and taking the time to take care of you and your health is going to benefit your business. It's the same type of thing. You got to take care of the health of your business. And that is what I feel like you're teaching us how to do. And you've just totally over delivered with templates and slide decks. And, I can give an example. I was just watching yesterday, the module that's coming up today, actually, about organizing your launch. And I saw your sample, and I was like, oh, I got to write all that down. And I'm like, oh no, you actually just attached it, so I don't even have to write it down. It's right there. So I don't know. It's just been stuff like that. Like, I'm surprised every time at how much content we get. It's just so worth every dollar that I've spent, and probably more. So
Oh, that makes me so
Great job.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a really great job. And you're talking to a person who is very unorganized. So this is, I don't know. I just feel like it's really impacted my whole life, not even just my business, but my whole life. So it's been great.
That's so sweet. Like, and just knowing your confidence has increased, and it's not even, I mean, the organizing, it's just in your life, your confidence has increased and you've just discovered you're able to be present where you're at. I love it.
Tracy, I'm going to piggyback on Liz to just say how grateful I am that you created this program. It was like exactly what I wanted and needed, and the timing was right, was like spot on. And I just think of people out there who have these gifts and ideas and then don't take action on them. So I'm just grateful that you created it and put it out there, and you've just made it so light and fun. What can be a heavy pressured, like organizing or something with a lot of shame around it. And I really appreciate that about you.
That's good, because I noticed, and I mentioned this in one of my podcast episodes, just how other people are doing it. And what if my way is too simple? And what if it's not, and I'm like, Tracy, I had to swim in that for like a week. And then I'm like, you know what? There's people out there that want this. So just keep going forward, do it your way and how you think will be most helpful. So thank you all for your encouragement. Okay. Tell people where they can find you.
This is Angie, and I am on Instagram and Facebook at Angie Robinson Coaching. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn as well at Angie K. Robinson. My website is angie-robinson.com. And then I also have a podcast called the Practically Perfect Leader Podcast, where I talk all things leadership and confidence, and all from an inside out approach, starting kind of with the foundation of self-awareness.
My name is Danielle Thienel, and daniellethienel.com is my website. Danielle Thienel Coaching is where you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. On your favorite podcasting platform, it's the Peaceful Mind podcast for busy moms. Can also be found when I was on Tracy's episode 21. And you can find out about my book and the courses that I offer for busy moms.
Love it. And I'll include all these links below. Liz, what about you? Where can people find you?
I am Liz Rose, and I am lizrosecoaching.com online, and at Liz Rose Coaching LLC on Instagram. I spend most time on Instagram, and online I'm just selling the 1 5-week program right now. So
love it. Ex-yeller.
I'm an ex-yeller like me. I'm an organized ex-yeller now.
Oh my goodness. A new title. I love
adding
that.
all the great qualities into my personality.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll see everyone next week on the podcast. Wait, if you're finding this podcast useful, you must check out the Organized Coach Academy. It's my course where I walk you through every step to get your business organized, to get yourself organized, to save money and time, to prepare to hire someone, to do all the things that you want to do in your business with ease. Check that out at simplysquaredaway.com/OCA. Also, I'm sure you've heard this a million times, but I would love it. It's my way of knowing that you're enjoying the podcast if you leave a written review. I have lots of freebies for you. They're linked in the show notes. You can find them in my bio on Instagram at Tracy Hoth. And until next week, have a beautiful day.